So anybody remember Bob Hayes? He was a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He actually won the gold medal in the Olympics. People don't know that. I mean, he was probably a greater athlete as a track star than he was as a football player. But I read this story. We were going through a study once, and it talked about Bob Hayes was on this plane with him. And he was literally in first class, and he was walking around with his gold medal. And he was showing, do you know who I am? I'm Bob Hayes. I won the gold medal in whatever, 1970, whatever. And that became his identity. Not Bob Hayes, God created to do great and mighty works and things. And we often compare ourselves to others who have, won the trophy, got the position, whatever it might be. And when we look and get into that comparison game, man, we create this low self-esteem, and we hurt our identity. We feel incomplete when we walk and look because we didn't win that trophy. We settle and we sabotage ourselves with that poor self-image of ourselves because we didn't win that trophy. And we just simply, I'm going to say it again, say, get another thought. Well, let me show you. And I don't know if you guys can see this back there or not. That is a trash can full of trophies. The high school was having an event. We read this story in the paper, and I went and we grabbed that image. And it was a track meet. And all these people came up on this trash dumpster and go, what are you doing? You know what they were doing with the trophies from 10 years, 20 years ago? They had to make room for the new trophies. All those things that people place so much value, so much of their image and everything who they were, the gold medal. And please, it's a great accomplishment to do that, but you are so much more than any trophy because they end up in the trash. That just blew me away when I seen that. Your value is so much more. Oh my goodness. So self-abasement, that slightest little door that we open, I'm always late. I'm just this. I'm just that. We open the door to truly devalue, see ourselves in a way that we shouldn't. We condition ourselves about negative things. I mean, we really do. We condition ourselves. When you walk into the room, what's the first thing that you see? Do you see the uniqueness of the room, or do you see what's out of place? When you talk to somebody, you're looking for the beauty in that person, or are you looking sometimes for the negativity? We had an appraisal done on our home a year ago, and the appraiser actually had been in our house right before we bought it. He said, oh my goodness, this is amazing. You guys have did so much work. He walked in and he says, yes. He said, you put these beautiful wood doors and these beautiful windows. I said, no, we didn't. He said, well, it was one thing after another. And he was just looking at this house, and it was like transformed to him. I go, no, we changed the flooring. We opened up the room. We did a lot of things, but he couldn't see past the things that were out of place because the cabinets were like from 1970. That's what they looked at. And that's how he conditioned himself to think. And we do that. We do that in our own lives, and we do that with people. Man, the greatest thing that my son struggled in high school. He was so smart, but he never did the work. And it just made me, I just get so frustrated. We meet with his teachers like, oh man, this kid is so capable. He leads other kids, And I'm like, looking at him, why are your grades bad? We used to give them money. Did you ever do this? $10 was an A, $5 was a B. They broke even with a C, and they had to pay me back money when it was a D. Okay? Was I really valuing them? I wanted to encourage them, right? I wanted to hold them accountable, which is okay too, but I wasn't looking to who they were and who God. He hated school. And then he went to UTI, right down the street here, and he got a 95% grade point average because that's what he loved. He carried a Hot Wheel car in his hand since he was like 4 years old. He would be asleep with the Hot Wheel car. And he still has his little Hot Wheel car at home, his Mustang now. But we got the greatest report at his graduation. It wasn't his GPA. The principal was handing out the diplomas. And he was just handing them out, reading off the name. But when my son came up there, and we're in an auditorium, and my son came up there, and he stopped him. And I'm going to try not to cry because it was just such a humbling experience. He said, this man right here is a good man. He stood up for those who couldn't stand for themselves. He fought for others who couldn't fight for themselves. He helped lift others up. He was always there when someone else was down. And he just spoke to the character of who God had made him. That's the truth for all of us. We want to look at the grades. I got to stop looking at the grades. I got to look at the man who God has made him to be. And that's the same thing he's saying. Stop measuring yourself by those other standards and look to who you are. And I'm telling you, man, it was the greatest experience because it didn't end there. These parents started coming up. I don't know any of these people. And they're telling us about how our son helped their daughter or their son and so on and so forth. And it was so remarkable. And I just thanked God for humbling me and just giving me greater understanding and wisdom. Look to the person that God made them to be. Are we walking in that? Not by some trophy. We have to look at the positive attributes. Get the new thought. Kill the negativity. Stop walking in the room looking at what is out of place and look for what is good. When we look at somebody, we need to look at the people that are in our lives. I mean, we do a breakout in this section here is to go out and recognize somebody. Go recognize somebody for who they are and what God has made them to be rather than what they've accomplished. With me? Go do that today. Do that tomorrow. Go love somebody for the way God loves them and God sees them. And then we can turn the mirror around. Turn the mirror around. Embrace who you are. Yes, belief. You are worthy. You are loved. You are worthy of the praises of the God. He sees the stars and his positive thoughts outnumber those that are in the heaven. Embrace who you are, truly. Praise the success of really walking in what God has called you to be. We need to turn it around, not looking at our weakness, but looking at our strengths and building upon those.